primaries and getting one step closer to seeing who will be Alabama's governor in 2019. Now, if there's one thing every candidate is focused on, it's bringing in jobs and improving the state's economy. Michael Downa spoke with all of the top candidates. Michael, let's break this all down. Let's do it by party. On the Republican side, what's their plan?
Well, if I was to sum it all up, every single candidate pretty much in this race wants to bring in more jobs, and they believe it starts with, well, making sure they improve workforce development. But on the Republican side, once you get on beyond the idea of bringing in better workforce development to the state, that's when you see them start to differ. If you talk to Governor Kay Ivey, well, she touts her record, saying that ever since she's taken office, we've seen thousands of jobs move into the state and also historically low levels of unemployment. If you talk to Huntsville's mayor, Tommy Battle, he says that most of those new jobs, they come from his area, and that over the last 10 years, he's been able to bring in 24,000 jobs to the state. What he can do is pretty much take the plan that he's used in Huntsville and bring it to the entire state of Alabama. That's focused on workforce development and then also infrastructure, making sure people can actually make their ride to and from work. Now, there's two other candidates in this race. There's Scott Dawson, a former pastor. He says he can bring in people with his personality and also wants to set up an independent council to look at regulations and things like fees. That council will basically be able to decide whether or not those are really fair and should stay on the books. And last but not least is South Alabama Senator Bill Hightower. He's a former businessman, and he says the best way to help out not only Alabama businesses but try to attract more business to the state is simply by cutting the state's corporate tax rate. And pretty much all these different ideas are some of the things you'll have to decide on, especially when it comes to the Republican side of this race, just next week.
Michael, what about the Democrats? What's their plan?
Well, like I said, they're also trying to improve workforce development and bring in new jobs, but how they're going to pay for that workforce development is quite different from the Republicans. Both candidates that I really talked to, that's Sue Bell Cobb and Walt Maddox, they have a lottery plan to help try to pay for some of that workforce development programs. But once you get beyond the lottery, that's when they start to differ. Walt Maddox, well, he wants to consolidate the 4 agencies he says are in charge of workforce development to just one to make sure there's true accountability when it comes to that issue. When you talk to Sue Bell Cobb, well, she says there needs to be a change of the perception of Alabama nationwide to try to attract more business. She says there's no better person to change the perception than the first ever woman Supreme Court Justice of Alabama. That's, of course, her. So it's going to be a tough choice when it comes to who you think can best maybe lead the state's economy in 2019 and beyond. Reporting from Montgomery, I'm Michael Downa for WAFF 48 News.